Results from Kentucky Spring 2021 standardized testing have been released, but state and school leaders are saying that the results that we're seeing don't tell the whole story.
Statewide scores in reading, math, writing, and science are down at the elementary, middle, and high school levels.
Rose McBride tells us why these results differ from years past in showing where student academic proficiency truly stands.
I'm going to show you some of the results from this year's Kentucky standardized testing, but keep in mind the Kentucky Department of Education says since the 2020-2021 school year had so many learning disruptions and challenges related to this pandemic, the data cannot be directly compared to data from previous years. Factors in testing were different. Tests were condensed and modified, and participation varied by district. So this graph shows an average percentage of students who took the tests in the state by school level, as well as 3 districts in our area: JCPS, Hardin County, and Oldham County. Overall, high school had the lowest participation in testing across the board. So when you only have 45% of students taking a test, it is not going to show the whole picture of how proficient students actually are. That being said, here are some data showing test results from the 2020-21 school year and how they differ from the 2018-2019 school year. This is elementary school reading levels. The blue shows the 2018-2019 year and the green shows the 2020-2021. And here are the middle school levels. There was no testing at all in the 2019-2020 school year, so that's why we do have the years that we have. And finally, here's the high school level reading scores. All scores in the last year are lower than they were in 2018 and 2019. But I talked to school leaders from these 3 districts about how they're going to use this information, if they use it at all.
Releasing this data, having accountability testing, first of all, I probably told many of you this before, last spring, I think was a terrible decision. Very disappointed, probably the most disappointed I've been in a governmental agency in requiring standardized testing.
JCPS Superintendent Dr. Marty Polio expressed his concern that the results of state testing do not show an accurate picture of his district. Kentucky state testing in the spring of 2021 was required by the U.S. Department of Education after more than a year of interrupted schooling.
For a 6th grader currently in middle school, the last uninterrupted year they had was as a 3rd grader.
Polio's frustration was felt by other districts in our area as well.
You cannot compare this testing data that we just received to any other testing data ever for multiple reasons.
Instead, schools are leaning on internal assessment, which happens more frequently than state testing. JCPS uses MAP testing, and Hardin County uses an assessment called iReady.
But also, we are even looking more seriously and harder at the data that we procure throughout the regular school year, and that's with iReady testing.
Looking at our internal assessments, we knew that learning loss had occurred because of the pandemic and last year and all the challenges that were faced, that our staff and our school district faced.
Oldham County Superintendent Dr. Jason Radford and his team have already identified areas where students need assistance and began making up for gaps in students' learning this summer. These state test results not only show an incomplete picture of student achievement, but also leave out the extra work that teachers and staff put in over the past year and a half.
What I'm most proud of is how we have responded to that when we think about what our staff and the plans we put in place and executed this past summer, and then as we lead into this current school year.
If you want to see more specific results from this testing, you can find a link on our website where you can search for district and school. That's WHAS11.com. For Wake Up, I'm Rose McBride.